The thing that fell from the sky made a sound like thunder when it hit the ground. Danny Cooper was walking through the forest near his grandfather's farm when he heard it. The crash was so loud that birds flew away from the trees in every direction. The ground shook under his feet. Danny knew he should go back home. His grandfather always told him not to wander too far into the woods. But Danny was curious. He wanted to see what made that noise. He followed the sound through the trees, climbing over fallen logs and pushing through bushes. When he reached the crash site, Danny stopped and stared. There was a huge hole in the ground, and smoke was rising from it. Trees had been knocked down all around the area. Some of them were still on fire. Danny walked closer, being careful where he stepped. That was when he saw it. The creature lying in the crater was bigger than anything Danny had ever seen. It was as long as a school bus, and had 4 legs with sharp claws. Its body was covered in scales that looked red and black at the same time. 2 huge wings were spread out on the ground, torn and bleeding. The creature had a long tail, and a head with horns curving back from its skull. Danny's first thought was that it looked like a dragon from the storybooks his mother used to read to him. But this was real. This was not a story. The creature's eyes opened slowly. They glowed like melted gold. Danny felt his heart beating fast in his chest. He should run. Every part of him knew he should run away as fast as he could, but something stopped him. The creature was hurt badly. Blood was leaking from cuts all over its body. One of its wings looked broken. The dragon stared at Danny. The boy stared back. Neither of them moved. Danny could see pain in those golden eyes. He could see that the creature was tired and hurt. It was not trying to attack him. It just lay there, breathing hard, watching him with those strange, glowing eyes. The boy took a step forward. Then another. The dragon did not move. Danny could see a large wound on the creature's side. Blood was flowing from it, but this blood was different from any blood Danny had seen before. It glowed with a soft light. Danny pulled off his jacket. He knew this was crazy. He knew this creature could kill him with one bite. But he could not just leave it here to die. He walked up to the dragon and pressed his jacket against the worst wound. The dragon's skin was warm under his hands. The scales were smooth and hard. Danny pushed down on the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. The creature made a low sound in its throat, but did not pull away. "It's okay," Danny said quietly. "I'm trying to help you." The dragon kept watching him. Those golden eyes seemed to look right into Danny's soul. The boy felt something strange happening. It was like the dragon was trying to talk to him, but not with words. Pictures started filling Danny's head. He saw stars and planets. He saw battles in space. He saw other creatures like this dragon fighting against terrible monsters. He saw this dragon running away, hurt and alone, looking for a place to hide. Danny understood. This creature had come from space. It had been in a fight and lost. It had come to Earth because it had nowhere else to go. "What hurt you?" Danny whispered. "What were you fighting?" The dragon's eyes started to close. It was too tired to stay awake anymore. But before it fell asleep, it did something that Danny would never forget. The creature moved its huge head forward and touched it gently to Danny's chest. In that moment, more pictures rushed into the boy's mind. He saw the monsters that had chased the dragon. They were called the Vex then, and they destroyed entire planets. Danny heard a sound in the distance. Helicopters. The military was coming to find what had crashed in the forest. If they found the dragon, they would kill it or take it away. Danny looked at the creature's face. "I'll help you," he said. "I promise." The dragon's eyes closed all the way. Its breathing became slow and steady. It was asleep, or maybe unconscious. Danny did not know which. He heard the helicopters getting closer. He had to think fast. There was an old mine on his grandfather's property. The entrance was hidden by trees and bushes. If Danny could get the dragon there, he could hide it. But how could he move something so big? Danny ran back through the forest toward his grandfather's farm. He had to get help, and there was only one person who might believe his story. His grandfather, William Cooper, had been a pilot in the Air Force. He had seen strange things during his years of service. If anyone would help Danny save an alien dragon, it would be him. Danny burst through the door of his grandfather's house, breathing hard from running. "Grandpa," he shouted, "I need your help. You have to come with me right now." William Cooper looked up from his newspaper. He saw the serious look on his grandson's face and the blood on the boy's hands. "What happened, Danny?" "Something crashed in the woods, something from space. It's hurt really bad, and the military is coming. We have to move it before they find it." William stared at his grandson. Most people would think the boy was making up stories, but William saw the truth in Danny's eyes. Something had happened. Something big. "Show me," William said, standing up. They took William's truck and drove as close to the crash site as they could. Then they ran through the woods together. When William saw the dragon lying in the crater, he stopped walking. His mouth fell open. "Dear God," he whispered. "It's a dragon," Danny said. "From another planet. It needs our help. Grandpa, please." William walked around the creature slowly, looking at it from every angle. He had seen a lot of things in his life, but nothing like this. The helicopters were getting very close now. They had maybe 10 minutes before soldiers would be all over this area. "The old mine," William said. "We can use the truck's winch and some chains. It's going to be hard, but we might be able to drag it there." They worked faster than they ever had before. William drove the truck close to the crater. They wrapped chains around the dragon's body, being careful not to hurt it more. The creature did not wake up. Danny hoped that was a good sign. The truck's engine roared as William tried to pull the dragon out of the crater. The chains pulled tight. For a moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, very slowly, the dragon started to move. They dragged it through the forest, leaving a trail behind them. Danny knew the military would find this trail, but hopefully by then, the dragon would be safely hidden in the mine. They reached the mine entrance just as they heard voices in the distance. Soldiers were spreading through the forest, searching. William and Danny pulled the dragon inside the dark tunnel and covered the entrance with branches and old boards. Inside the mine, Danny sat down next to the dragon. He was tired and scared and excited all at once. He had just saved an alien creature. He had just hidden a dragon from the most powerful military in the world. The dragon's eyes opened slightly. It looked at Danny, and the boy felt that strange connection again. The creature was thanking him. Danny smiled. "You're safe now," he said. "Rest. Get better. We'll figure out what to do next." Outside, he could hear soldiers searching the forest. Inside the mine, a boy and a dragon from the stars waited in the darkness, both knowing that their lives had just changed forever. The next few days were the hardest of Danny's life. He had to keep his secret from everyone except his grandfather. At school, he acted normal even though his mind was full of thoughts about the dragon hiding in the mine. Every night after school, Danny would rush home and run to the mine with food and water. The dragon was slowly getting better. Its wounds started to heal, though the process was slow. Danny learned that the creature's name was Zephyr. He did not learn this through words. Instead, Zephyr would put thoughts and pictures directly into Danny's mind. It was strange at first, but Danny got used to it. William helped as much as he could. The old man brought medical supplies from town without telling anyone what they were for. He used his knowledge from the Air Force to treat some of Zephyr's wounds. The dragon's blood stopped glowing as much, which William said was probably a good sign. "This thing could kill us without even trying," William said one evening as they watched Zephyr sleep. "You know that, right?" "I know, Grandpa. But it won't. Zephyr is good. I can feel it." "You can feel it," William repeated, shaking his head. "Danny, I hope you're right about this." I really do. As the days passed, Danny learned more about Zephyr and where the dragon came from. Through the pictures that Zephyr shared, Danny saw things that amazed him. He saw planets covered in cities made of light. He saw ships that traveled faster than anything humans had built. He saw other dragons, like Zephyr, flying through space without needing ships at all. Zephyr's people were called the Krathar. They were old, much older than humans. They protected parts of the galaxy from dangers that most species never even knew about. For thousands of years, the Krathar had kept the peace in their region of space. But then, the Vex then came. When Zephyr showed Danny pictures of the Vex then, the boy felt cold fear run through his body. These creatures were nightmare monsters, made real. They looked like sharks mixed with insects, with too many teeth and claws and eyes. They traveled in huge groups, eating everything in their path. When they found a planet with life, they would consume it all, leaving nothing but a dead rock behind. The Krathar had fought the Vex then for many years. They had won some battles and lost others. Zephyr had been a warrior, fighting on the front lines of this war. But in the last battle, near Jupiter, Zephyr had been hurt badly. 3 Vexthan hunters had attacked at once. Zephyr had killed 2 of them, but the third one had torn Zephyr's wing and cut deep into the dragon's side. Earth was the closest planet where Zephyr could hide and heal. The dragon had not meant to bring danger here. Zephyr had just wanted to survive. But Danny learned something that made his blood run cold. When Zephyr crashed on Earth, the impact had sent out a signal. It was like a beacon in space. The Vex then would have detected it. They would know that a Krathar dragon had come to this planet. How long until they get here? Danny asked one night, sitting next to Zephyr in the mine. Zephyr's answer came as pictures in his mind. Maybe a few weeks. Maybe less. We have to warn people, Danny said. We have to tell the government, the military, everyone. But Zephyr showed him what would happen. Danny saw soldiers pointing guns at Zephyr. He saw the dragon locked in a cage, being studied like a lab animal. He saw humans arguing and fighting about what to do, while the Vexes then got closer and closer. By the time anyone believed the danger was real, it would be too late. So what do we do? Danny asked, feeling helpless. Zephyr's answer surprised him. There was another way, but it was dangerous. The Krathar had bases hidden throughout this part of space. One of them was on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. If Danny and Zephyr could reach that base, they could call for help. The Krathar would send ships to defend Earth, but that meant flying through space. It meant leaving Earth's air behind and traveling on the back of a dragon that was still healing from terrible wounds. It meant a 12-year-old boy going where no human had gone before. Danny thought about it for a long time. He thought about his grandfather, his friends at school, all the people on Earth who had no idea what was coming. He thought about his mother, who had died when he was young, and wondered what she would want him to do. When can you fly again? Zephyr stood up slowly. The dragon's wings spread out, filling the mine tunnel. They were huge and powerful, and the torn parts had healed enough to work again. Zephyr would never be as strong as before, not without more time to rest. But the dragon could fly, and that would have to be enough. Okay, Danny said, his voice shaking a little. Let's do it. Let's go to space. William was not happy when Danny told him the plan. The old man paced back and forth in his kitchen, running his hands through his gray hair. You want to ride a dragon to Jupiter's moon, William said. Do you hear how crazy that sounds? I know, Grandpa. But what choice do we have? We could tell the government. We could try to make them believe us. And while they're arguing about whether or not to believe a kid and his grandfather, the Vex then will come. Zephyr says they destroy everything. Every person, every animal, every plant. Earth would die. William sat down heavily in his chair. He looked old and tired. Your grandmother would never forgive me if I let you do this. Grandma would understand. She always said that sometimes you have to do the scary thing because it's the right thing. William looked at his grandson for a long moment. Then he sighed. You're just like your mother. She was brave too. Sometimes, too brave. He stood up and walked to a closet. If you're going to fly through space, you're going to need the right equipment. Over the next 2 days, William prepared everything Danny would need. He had kept his old flight suit from his Air Force days. He modified it with extra layers and a heating system powered by batteries. He could not make it work in real space, but Zephyr assured them through pictures that the Dragon could protect Danny from the vacuum. William made a harness that would strap Danny to Zephyr's back. He tested it over and over, making sure it was strong enough. He packed supplies in waterproof bags and attached them to the harness. Food, water, medical supplies, flares, a radio that probably would not work in space but might be useful anyway. On the last night before they left, William made Danny's favorite dinner. They ate together in silence, neither of them knowing what to say. Finally, William spoke. When you get back, and you will get back, we're going to have a long talk about you following my rules. Danny smiled. Yes, sir. I'm proud of you, Danny. Your mother would be proud too. You've got more courage than most soldiers I knew in the Air Force. William's eyes were wet. But you better come home. You hear me? Don't make me lose you too. I'll come back, Danny promised. Zephyr will keep me safe. That night, Danny could not sleep. He lay in bed, looking at the ceiling, thinking about what he was going to do. Tomorrow, he would leave Earth. Tomorrow, he would fly to another moon. Another world. He was scared. More scared than he had ever been. But he was also excited. He was going to see things that no other human had ever seen. The next morning came too quickly. Danny put on the modified flight suit. William helped him with all the straps and checked everything 3 times. They walked to the mine together as the sun started to rise. Zephyr was waiting at the entrance. The dragon looked stronger now, ready to fly. When Zephyr saw Danny in the flight suit with the harness, the dragon made a sound that might have been approval. Danny climbed onto Zephyr's back. William helped him secure all the straps of the harness. The old man's hands were shaking. I filed a false report about a drone test, William said. That should keep the military from investigating for a few hours. After that, you're on your own. Thank you, Grandpa, for everything. William hugged his grandson one last time. Fly safe. Come back soon. Zephyr walked out of the mine and into the open field. The dragon's wings spread wide, blocking out the rising sun. Danny held on tight to the harness. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might explode. Zephyr's powerful legs pushed off from the ground. The wings beat down once, twice, 3 times. They rose into the air, leaving William standing alone in the field below. Higher and higher they climbed. Danny watched his grandfather's farm get smaller and smaller, until it was just a tiny dot. The air got colder and thinner. Danny's ears popped. Zephyr kept climbing. Faster now. The ground falling away at incredible speed. They broke through the clouds, and suddenly the sky above was darker than Danny had ever seen it. Stars began to appear even though the sun was still up. The air was so thin now that Danny struggled to breathe. Then Zephyr's scales began to glow with a soft blue light. The light spread out from the dragon's body and covered Danny like a bubble. Suddenly, he could breathe again. They left Earth's atmosphere completely. Below them, the planet looked like a beautiful blue and white ball against the black of space. Danny had seen pictures of Earth from space, but seeing it with his own eyes was different. It was the most amazing thing he had ever seen, and he was going to save it. Flying through space was nothing like Danny had imagined. There was no sound except for Zephyr's breathing and his own heartbeat. The stars did not twinkle like they did from Earth. Instead, they burned with steady, bright light in every direction. The moon hung huge and silver to their left as they passed it. Zephyr flew with smooth, powerful strokes of those massive wings. Danny did not understand how wings could work in space where there was no air. But somehow, They did. Maybe it was dragon magic. Maybe it was alien science. Danny decided it did not matter, as long as it worked. He felt weightless on Zephyr's back, held down only by the straps of his harness. It was strange and wonderful. Danny looked back at Earth and felt a sharp pain in his chest. His home looked so small and fragile out here in the darkness. If the Vex then came, could anyone really stop them? Zephyr sent him feelings of reassurance through their connection. The Krathar would help. They had to. They had been flying for about an hour when Zephyr's body suddenly went stiff. Danny felt it through the harness and through their mental link. Something was wrong. The dragon's head turned, looking at the darkness around them. "What is it?" Danny asked, though he already knew the answer. His stomach felt sick with fear. Zephyr showed him a picture. 3 shapes moving through space. 3 hunters. The Vex, then, had found them. Danny could not see anything at first. Space looked empty in every direction. Then, he spotted them. They were coming from behind the moon, moving fast. They looked exactly like the picture Zephyr had shown him, shark-like bodies covered in blade-like armor. Too many legs and claws. Eyes that glowed red, even in the darkness of space. They were smaller than Zephyr, but faster. And there were 3 of them. "Can we outrun them?" Danny asked, knowing the answer. Zephyr's response was no. The dragon was still healing. These hunters were fresh and fast. They would catch up. Zephyr sent Danny a feeling of fierce determination, mixed with worry, for the boy's safety. "Then we fight," Danny said, trying to sound braver than he felt. "We don't have a choice. Right?" The first attack came so fast that Danny almost did not see it. Lines of red energy shot through space toward them. Zephyr twisted to the side, wings tucking in tight. And the energy bolts missed by inches. Danny felt his stomach lurch as they spun. The hunters split up, coming at them from 3 different directions. Zephyr's head snapped toward the closest one. The dragon's mouth opened, and a beam of white-hot plasma shot out. It was not fire, Danny realized. It was something else. Something hotter and more powerful. The plasma beam hit one of the hunters directly in the face. The creature's head exploded in a shower of frozen blood and body parts. 2 hunters left, but those 2 were learning. They did not come straight at Zephyr anymore. Instead, they circled, staying far enough away that Zephyr could not reach them easily with the plasma breath. They took turns firing energy bolts, forcing Zephyr to keep dodging. Danny clung to the harness as Zephyr spun and twisted through space. The dragon's tail whipped out, longer than it should be, stretching impossibly far to strike at one of the hunters. The tail hit the creature's side and sent it spinning away. But the other hunter took advantage of Zephyr's distraction. It dove in close and raked its claws across Zephyr's back leg. The dragon roared in pain. Danny felt it through their connection. Felt every bit of Zephyr's agony. "No!" Danny shouted. He fumbled with the supplies attached to the harness. His grandfather had packed flares in case of emergency. Danny did not know if they would work in space, but he had to try something. Zephyr was struggling now. The wound on the dragon's leg was bleeding, and the earlier injuries had not fully healed. The 2 hunters circled closer, sensing weakness. Danny pulled out a flare and held it ready. "Zephyr, get me close to one of them." The dragon's response through their connection was immediate and negative. Too dangerous. Danny was small and soft. The hunters would kill him in a second. "Please, trust me like I trusted you." For a moment that felt like forever, Zephyr hesitated. Then the dragon suddenly changed direction, diving straight toward the nearest hunter. The Vex-then creature seemed surprised. It opened its mouth, showing rows of teeth like knives, ready to bite. At the last possible second, Zephyr rolled. Danny unclipped one strap from his harness, the one his grandfather had made extra long for emergencies. He pulled the tab on the flare and threw it as hard as he could right into the hunter's open mouth. The effect was immediate and terrible. The flare ignited inside the creature. In space, with no air, it should not have worked like that. But inside the hunter's body, where there was atmosphere, the chemicals reacted violently. The creature convulsed, trying to close its mouth. But it was too late. Zephyr's tail whipped around and struck the dying hunter with massive force. The creature went spinning off into the darkness, either dead or close to it. One hunter remained. But this one was the biggest, the most dangerous. It hung in space between them and the direction they needed to go. Danny could feel its intelligence through Zephyr's senses. This was not just a mindless predator. This was a scout. Maybe even a leader. If it escaped and reported back to the other Vex, then more would come. Many more. Earth would be doomed before help could arrive. "We can't let it get away," Danny said. Zephyr understood. The dragon gathered what strength remained. Danny felt Zephyr's determination, burning through their connection like a star. This would be the final fight. Either they would win, or they would die here, in the cold emptiness of space. They charged forward together. The hunter charged to meet them. The two creatures collided with silent violence. Claws raked scales. Teeth snapped at armor-plated skin. Zephyr's wings beat powerfully, trying to control their spin. The hunter's bladed limbs stabbed and cut. Danny was thrown hard against his harness. He felt something crack in his chest. A rib, maybe. Pain shot through his whole body. But he held on. He had to hold on. Zephyr was magnificent in battle. Despite being wounded and tired, the dragon fought with the skill of thousands of years of evolution. Claws found weak spots. The tail wrapped around the hunter's body, squeezing tight. And then, Zephyr's mouth closed around the creature's neck. The dragon's plasma breath fired at point-blank range. The hunter's body went stiff, then limp. Zephyr let it go, and it drifted away, dead. Victory. But the cost was high. Zephyr floated in space, breathing hard. Danny could feel the dragon's life force flickering. Zephyr had used almost everything in that last fight. The wounds from before had opened up again. New wounds had been added to old ones. "No," Danny whispered. "No, you can't die now. Not after we won. Not after everything." He pressed his gloved hands against Zephyr's scales, as if he could push life back into the dragon through sheer will. "We still have to get to Europa. We still have to save Earth. You can't give up." Zephyr's eyes opened slightly. Through their connection, Danny felt something that might have been amusement. The dragon was not dead yet. Not while a brave human boy still believed in them. With effort that must have been painful, Zephyr's wings spread once more. They began to fly again, slower now, but still moving forward. Behind them, the bodies of 3 Vex-than hunters floated in the darkness. Ahead, Jupiter grew larger in their view, and somewhere on one of its moons was help. Danny looked back at Earth one more time. It was smaller now, harder to see. But it was still there. Still safe. Still spinning in the darkness, full of people who had no idea how close they had just come to disaster. "We're going to make it," Danny said, more to himself than to Zephyr. "We have to." The dragon did not respond except to keep flying. Hour after hour, they flew through the silent vacuum. Danny dozed off a few times, despite the pain in his ribs. Each time he woke, they were closer to Jupiter. The giant planet filled more and more of the sky, its red spot clearly visible, its many moons scattered around it like children around a parent. Europa was one of those moons. From Earth, it looked like just a small point of light. Up close, it was a whole world, covered in ice that reflected light like a mirror. Zephyr changed direction, angling down toward Europa's surface. Danny could feel the dragon's exhaustion. Every wing beat took more effort than the last. They had to land soon, or Zephyr would pass out and they would crash. The ice surface came up fast. Zephyr's landing was not graceful. The dragon hit the ice hard, skidded, and finally came to a stop. For a moment, neither of them moved. They just lay there, dragon and boy, breathing hard, alive. Danny unstrapped himself and climbed off Zephyr's back. His legs were shaky. His chest hurt with every breath. But they had made it. They were on Europa. Now what? Danny asked. Zephyr lifted one massive claw and pointed. In the distance, barely visible against the ice, was a structure. It was partly buried, looking like it had been there for a very long time, but lights glowed from within it. The Krathar base. Danny helped Zephyr stand. Together, they walked across the frozen surface of Europa toward the base and toward hope. Each step was hard for both of them, but they kept going. As they got closer, a door in the structure opened. Light poured out, and from that light came more dragons. Zephyr's people, the Krathar. They rushed forward when they saw Zephyr and Danny, their roars echoing across the ice. Help had arrived. Now they just had to convince the Krathar to save Earth before it was too late. The Krathar base under Europa's ice was like nothing Danny had ever imagined. The walls glowed with soft light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The ceilings were high enough for dragons to fly through comfortably. Strange symbols covered the walls, probably writing in the Krathar language. Danny was carried inside by two smaller dragons while others helped Zephyr. The base was full of activity. Dragons of different sizes and colors moved through the halls. Some had scales of blue or green, others were silver or gold. All of them stopped to stare as Danny passed by, a human child in a Krathar base. It had never happened before. They took Danny and Zephyr to a medical area. The doctors, if that was what they were, worked on both of them. For Danny, they used a device that passed over his broken rib. He felt warmth, and then the pain started to fade. The rib was healing, much faster than it should have. For Zephyr, the treatment was more complex. The dragon had lost a lot of blood, and the wounds were severe. While they healed, the base commander came to see them. This dragon was ancient. Its scales had turned silver with age. Its eyes were deep and wise, having seen things that Danny could not imagine. The commander's name was Koroveth. A small device was placed near Danny's ear. Suddenly, he could understand the sounds Koroveth made. It was a translator, turning dragon speech into English. "Your courage is noted, young human," Koroveth said. The voice was deep and rumbling. "Zephyr chose well when deciding to trust you." "Thank you, sir," Danny said, not sure if that was the right thing to say to an ancient alien dragon. "You flew through space on Zephyr's back. You fought Vex then hunters and survived. You came here to ask for help. These are not small things. My planet is in danger," Danny said simply. "The Vex then are coming to Earth because Zephyr crashed there. If we don't stop them, everyone I know will die. Everyone on my whole planet will die." Koroveth was quiet for a long moment. "We know. We have been monitoring the situation since we detected Zephyr's crash landing. A Vex then fleet is indeed heading toward your world." Danny's heart sank. "How long do we have? 3 of your weeks, perhaps 4. It depends on how fast they travel. Can you help us? Can you send ships to defend Earth?" "We can and we will," Koroveth said. "But there is a problem. Our nearest battle fleet is far away, dealing with another Vex then incursion. They can be redirected to Earth, but they will take time to arrive. 5 weeks, maybe 6, but the Vex then will be there in 3 or 4 weeks, Danny said, feeling panic rise in his chest. "Yes, this is the problem." Danny's mind raced. "What about this base? How many dragons are here? Can they fight?" "This is a research and medical facility," Koroveth explained. "We have perhaps 20 dragons here, and most are scientists and healers, not warriors. Against a Vex then fleet, we would be destroyed quickly. So what do we do?" Danny asked, his voice shaking. He had come all this way, fought so hard, and it still might not be enough. Koroveth's ancient eyes studied the boy. "There is one option, but it requires your species to be ready. Your people must be warned. They must be prepared." They must accept our help without fear or violence. How do I do that? I'm just a kid. Nobody's going to listen to me. You rode a dragon to another moon, Koraveth said. You are more than just a kid. But yes, this will be difficult. Your species does not know about life beyond your planet. The shock of first contact, combined with the threat of the Vex-Than, will cause panic and confusion. Danny thought about his grandfather, about the soldiers who had come looking for Zephyr, about how people reacted to things they did not understand. Koraveth was right. This would be hard. What if we go back and just show them? Danny asked. What if we fly straight to Washington where the government is? We don't hide this time. We land right in the middle of the city, where everyone can see. Then I tell them what's coming. They might shoot you down before you can land, Koraveth warned. Maybe. But Zephyr is fast. And I don't think they'll shoot if they see a kid riding on the dragon's back. They'll be too confused. By the time they figure out what to do, we'll already be on the ground. Koraveth made a sound that might have been dragon laughter. Bold. Risky. But perhaps it could work. The ancient dragon turned to look at Zephyr, who was watching from a healing bed. Can you fly again so soon, warrior? Zephyr stood up carefully. The dragon was not fully healed, but the Krathar medical technology had worked wonders. Zephyr stretched those massive wings and sent a feeling to Danny through their connection. Ready. Then we should move quickly, Koraveth said. We will prepare a data device with information about the Vex-Than. Recordings, tactical data, everything your people will need to understand the threat. When you land, give this to your leaders. Over the next few hours, the Krathar prepared for Danny and Zephyr's return to Earth. They fixed Danny's flight suit and improved it with their technology. They gave him a small device that could project images and videos, loaded with information about the Vex-Than. They provided supplies and made sure Zephyr was as strong as possible for the journey. Koraveth also gave Danny something else. It was a small crystal that hung on a chain around his neck. This is a beacon, the old dragon explained. When our fleet arrives in your system, they will use this to find you. Keep it safe. Keep it with you. Thank you, Danny said. Thank you for helping us. Thank your friend Zephyr, Koraveth said. And thank yourself for being brave enough to come here. Few beings in the galaxy would have done what you did. When it was time to leave, all the dragons in the base came to see them off. They gathered in the main hall, making sounds that Danny's translator said were songs of honor and courage. Zephyr stood tall, looking stronger than before, and Danny climbed onto the dragon's back one more time. The journey back to Earth was faster than the journey out. Zephyr knew the way now and flew with purpose. They passed the bodies of the dead Vex-Than hunters, still floating in the darkness. Danny looked at them and felt both proud and scared. They had beaten 3 of these monsters, but a whole fleet was coming. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Earth came into view, that beautiful blue and white sphere hanging in the black. Danny had only been gone for a few days, but it felt like much longer. He wondered if his grandfather was okay. He wondered if anyone had noticed he was gone. They entered Earth's atmosphere in daylight this time, over the Pacific Ocean. Zephyr flew fast and high, too high for most planes to reach. But satellites would see them. Radar would track them. And by the time they reached the east coast of America, the military would be ready. Danny was right about that. As they approached Washington, fighter jets appeared on both sides of them. The pilots had to be shocked, seeing a dragon flying through the sky with a boy on its back. Their radios were probably going crazy with orders and questions. Don't attack them, Danny said to Zephyr. Zephyr understood. The dragon kept flying straight toward the city, ignoring the jets that followed like worried birds. The National Mall came into view. It was a huge open space in the center of the capital, with monuments and museums all around it. Thousands of people were there, tourists and workers. They all looked up as a shadow passed over them. Zephyr landed in the middle of the mall, wings spread wide, head held high. Danny unstrapped himself and climbed down. His legs were shaky again, but he forced himself to stand straight. Soldiers appeared within seconds, running from every direction. Vehicles with weapons surrounded them. Helicopters circled overhead. People were screaming and running away or pointing their phones to record everything. An officer with lots of medals on his uniform pushed through the crowd of soldiers. He looked angry and scared at the same time. His gun was pointed at Zephyr. "Step away from that thing, son," the officer ordered. "Step away slowly." "No, sir," Danny said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "This is Zephyr. He's from another planet. He's my friend. And he's here to save your life." The officer stared at Danny like the boy had lost his mind. "What are you talking about? There's something coming," Danny said. He pulled out the data device Koroveth had given him. "Something that will destroy Earth if we don't get ready. Zephyr's people want to help us. But you have to listen. You have to believe me." More people were arriving now. Officials in suits, scientists, news reporters. Everyone wanted to see the dragon and the boy who had fallen from the sky. Danny held up the device. "Please, just look at this. Look at what's coming. Then decide if you want to shoot us." The officer hesitated. Then he lowered his gun slightly and waved someone forward. A woman in a suit approached carefully. She took the device from Danny and activated it. The hologram appeared above the device, showing images of the Vex then, showing destroyed planets, showing the fleet that was heading toward Earth. The woman's face went pale. She looked at Danny, then at Zephyr, then back at the hologram. "Get me the president," she said quietly. "Get me everyone. Right now." Danny felt relief wash over him. They were listening. Finally, someone was listening. The next few hours were chaos. Danny was taken to a secure building near the White House, along with Zephyr. At first, the soldiers wanted to separate them. But Zephyr refused to move without Danny, and Danny refused to leave Zephyr. Eventually, they gave up and brought them both to a large underground room. Important people kept arriving. Generals, scientists, politicians, people from other countries. They all watched the data that Danny had brought from Europa. They all looked at Zephyr with a mixture of fear and wonder. He told them everything. About finding Zephyr in the forest. About hiding the dragon in the mine. About learning of the Vexthan threat. About the flight to Europa. And the battle in space. Some of them believed him right away. Others needed more proof. The proof came when Koroveth sent a message through the crystal around Danny's neck. The message played as a hologram, in front of everyone. The ancient dragon explained the situation, confirmed everything Danny had said, and offered humanity an alliance. The Krathar fleet would come to defend Earth, but they needed time. Earth had to hold out for 5 weeks. 5 weeks, said a general with gray hair and hard eyes. Against an enemy we don't understand. With weapons we've never seen. How are we supposed to do that? "We help them," said a scientist, a woman with kind eyes and graying hair. Her name was Dr. Linda Freeman. "Look at the data. The Krathar have been fighting the Vexthan for centuries. They know their weaknesses. If we combine their knowledge with our technology, we might have a chance." The debates went on for hours. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to run and hide. Some wanted to pretend the threat was not real. But Danny sat through all of it, with Zephyr beside him, and whenever someone suggested giving up, he spoke. "My mom died when I was 8, Danny said during one of these moments. "Cancer. The doctors tried everything, but they couldn't save her. I was so angry. I wanted to give up on everything, but my grandpa told me something. He said that we don't get to choose what happens to us, but we do get to choose how we face it. We can face it scared and defeated, or we can face it brave and fighting." The room was quiet. Everyone was looking at this 12-year-old boy who had flown to another moon and back. "The Vex then are coming," Danny continued. That's what's happening to us. We don't get to choose that. But we do get to choose how we face it. I choose brave. I choose fighting. What do you choose? The President of the United States stood up. She was younger than the presidents Danny had seen in history books, with brown hair and determined eyes. Her name was President Helen Baker. We fight, she said simply. We prepare, we learn, and we fight. And when the Krathar fleet arrives, we'll be ready to fight alongside them. She looked at the gathered officials. Make it happen. Whatever resources we need, whatever we have to do, Earth survives this. Things moved fast after that. The Krathar sent technical data about Vexes than weaknesses. Human engineers worked day and night to modify weapons and ships. Countries that had been enemies put aside their differences and worked together. The entire world united in a way it never had before, facing a common threat from the stars. Danny became the connection between humans and Krathar. When the aliens sent messages, Danny helped translate not just the words but the meaning. When humans had questions, Danny asked Zephyr. The dragon and the boy became symbols of the alliance, appearing on news broadcasts around the world. William Cooper came to Washington to be with his grandson. The old man cried when he hugged Danny, relieved that the boy was alive and safe. You did good, kid, William said. Your mom would be so proud. Danny also got to meet other humans who had been chosen to work directly with the Krathar. Pilots who would fly alongside the dragons in battle. Scientists who would operate the alien technology. Soldiers who would fight on the ground if the Vex then landed. One of these humans was a pilot named Captain Amy Richardson. She was tough and smart, and she reminded Danny of his mother. She was chosen to be Koraveth's translator and partner. When the Krathar fleet arrived, the weeks passed quickly. Training, preparing, waiting. Telescopes watched space for signs of the Vexthan fleet. Everyone knew they were coming, but not knowing exactly when made it worse. Danny spent most of his time with Zephyr. They flew together over Washington, and people below would stop and wave. The dragon, who had once been a terrifying alien, was now a symbol of hope. Children drew pictures of Zephyr. Adults wore shirts with the dragon's image. Danny and Zephyr had become heroes, but Danny did not feel like a hero. He felt scared. He had nightmares about the Vexthan hunters they had fought in space. He worried that Earth would not be ready in time. He worried that he had not done enough. Zephyr always knew when Danny was scared. The dragon would send feelings of calm and courage through their connection. They had survived this long together. They would survive what came next. 4 weeks after Danny's return to Earth, the Vex then were spotted. They came from the direction of Mars, a fleet of dark ships that blotted out the stars. Hundreds of them. Just as feared. Maybe more than 1,000. The Krathar fleet arrived 1 day later, barely in time. Ships that looked like they were made of light and metal, with dragons flying alongside them. Koraveth himself led the fleet, ancient and powerful, and ready to fight. The battle for Earth began in the space above the planet. Human ships, modified with Krathar technology, fought alongside alien vessels. Zephyr joined the battle, with Danny on the dragon's back, wearing an advanced version of his flight suit that the Krathar had made for him. It was terrifying and amazing at the same time. Explosions lit up the darkness. Energy weapons fired in every direction. Ships on both sides were destroyed. Dragons and Vexes then hunters fought in deadly dances through the void. Danny and Zephyr stayed together, fighting as they had fought before. Danny had learned to use the weapons the Krathar had given him, small but powerful devices that could hurt the Vexthan. And Zephyr was stronger now, fully healed, fighting with all the power and skill of a Krathar warrior. The battle lasted 6 days. It felt like 6 years. Danny barely slept, barely ate. When he was not fighting, he was helping coordinate between human and Krathar forces. Captain Richardson and Koraveth worked perfectly together, their partnership strong and effective. Other humans and Krathar formed similar bonds. On the 6th day, the Vexes then fleet broke. They had lost too many ships, too many hunters. The ones that remained fled back into deep space. Earth had won. The cost had been high. Many human ships were destroyed. Many soldiers and pilots died. Several Krathar dragons fell in battle, including some that Danny had met on Europa. The victories and losses were celebrated and mourned together. After the battle, there was much to discuss. The Vex then would come back eventually. They always did. But now, Earth was ready. Now humanity had allies. Now they were part of something bigger than just their one planet. A formal alliance was signed between Earth and the Krathar. Humans would join the galactic community. They would learn from older species and teach what they knew in return. Some humans would go to live on other worlds. Some Krathar would stay on Earth. Koraveth offered Danny and Zephyr a choice. They could stay on Earth and live normal lives, or they could come with the Krathar fleet and explore the galaxy. Danny thought about it for a long time. He talked to his grandfather, who told him to follow his heart. He talked to Zephyr, who would support whatever Danny decided. He thought about his mother and what she would have wanted for him. In the end, the choice was easy. 3 months after the battle, Danny Cooper stood with Zephyr on the same Montana hillside where they had first met. William was there too, trying not to cry, and failing. "How long will you be gone?" William asked. "I don't know, Grandpa. A year maybe. Maybe longer. But I'll come back. I promise." "You better, kid. I'm too old to lose anyone else I love." They hugged for a long time. Then Danny climbed onto Zephyr's back, securing himself in a new harness designed for long space journeys. The dragon's wings spread wide, beautiful and powerful in the morning sun. "I love you, Grandpa," Danny called down. "I love you too, Danny. Fly safe." Zephyr launched into the sky. They climbed higher and higher, leaving Montana behind, leaving Earth behind. But this time, it was different. Danny was not scared. He was excited. The galaxy was huge and full of wonders, and he was going to see them all. Below, William Cooper watched until his grandson and the dragon were just a small dot in the sky. Then, even that disappeared. The old man smiled through his tears. His grandson was going to be fine. More than fine. Danny was going to see things that most humans could only dream about. In space, beyond Earth's atmosphere, Danny looked back at his home planet one more time. It was beautiful as always. That blue and white jewel against the darkness. But now it was part of something bigger. Part of a community of worlds and species working together. "Ready?" Zephyr asked, through their connection. Danny smiled and patted the dragon's neck. "Ready." They turned away from Earth and flew toward the stars. There were other planets to visit, other species to meet, other adventures waiting. The galaxy was huge and full of dangers, but also full of wonders. And Danny Cooper, 13 years old and braver than most adults, was going to see it all. With his best friend Zephyr by his side, anything was possible. The stars had never looked so bright or so welcoming. This was just the beginning of their story. The beginning of humanity's story among the stars. And it was going to be amazing.